Welcome to Fearless Conversations, a podcast by free thinkers of the world. The content within this episode is intended for mature audiences only. Hi, welcome to Fearless Conversations. I am Euge and I am with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mariano.
And today, Gil is joining us for a very interesting conversation. Gil has created the Mind Movement app. Gil works as an international movement therapist, epigenetics nutritionist, psychosocial therapist. He specializes in neuroplasticity of the brain. He helps people break old habits and reprogram their brains to achieve a healthier thought pattern. Welcome, Gil.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
It's so nice to have you. Thank you for joining.
Is that
Thank you for having me.
Gil?
It's a lot. I focus on a lot of things, but in the end, it's all connected. So I see it as one.
Oh, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. So we're very excited to hear what all this means and how you're helping people and where you're helping people. So very, very exciting.
How
Thank
did
you.
you start this journey of helping others and working with all this science?
Well, it started when I was young, I think, because I saw everybody wanted to change something. People were always talking about creating a more positive mindset, a more calm mindset, getting more fit, more healthy. But then people went to the psychologist or like a personal trainer or movement therapist or nutritionist. They were all going to different types of specialists. And when I was young, I was like, there need to be one thing because it's all connected. And that's when I started seeing my journey and I started studying movement science and psychology, neuroplasticity, nutrition. And I did all the studies and I even went to India to learn the tradition of yoga and meditation because I wanted to know the science behind it and the real stuff. And I combined it all, and that's what I started with. And I see the change it has brought for so many clients and students around the world. And I do believe it's all connected: the body, the mind, the nutrition, environment. It is all one.
That's amazing. Could you explain for our audience, and for me at least, I don't know what it is, what is epigenetic nutrition?
Well, epigenetic and nutrition it can be separate, but epigenetics is actually our environment. So the environment can alter the gene expression, so the way that we move, the way that we are dealing with our stress. If you are in a toxic relationship, it can alter your expressions. If you're in a stressful environment, it's not a healthy environment. So that's why we are focusing not only on the mind, on the body and nutrition, but also the environment, the epigenetic environment.
Wow. And how does it work? How can you apply it to somebody's health? Like, do you tell people, okay, you have to move out, you have to break up with your boyfriend? How do you work with people?
Well, I think the first thing we start with the mind. We all have a busy mind. We have over 1,000 thoughts each day, and most of our living in autopilot. We're going from one moment to another, and we get overwhelmed and anxiety, and then we get stuck in the looping. So the first thing I'm always teaching is because people say, "Oh, where do I start?" I always say, calm the mind. Step one, calm the mind. Whatever you're doing, calm the mind. That creates clarity and insight, and we can do this by sitting still, focusing on our breath, by meditating, by doing self-reflection, just calm the mind. From there, we go to step two. What are we dealing with? Our emotions, our subconscious unresolved traumas, or our stress, our anxiety, our insecurity, our fears, our worries. So then we are dealing with this. And then we're gonna try to break the looping. So how to break our old habits, our old patterns of being insecure, of being busy, of being addicted to stress, or maybe addicted to our dopamine, always going from one quick fix to another. And then I teach people to say, okay, who do you really want to be? What is your heartfelt desire? What is your goal in life? And then we focus on creating the life that you desire, of creating the best version of yourself. So that's usually the 4 steps that we are doing with our clients and our students around the world.
Wow.
That's amazing. And you combine traditional teachings as developed in the East with the current scientific knowledge that exists in the West. That's a very interesting point. How do you find this fusion works? Do both points of view or both characteristics help each other? Are they easily combined?
I think it's the same. I think 20 years ago, we thought everything was this fake spiritual stuff from the East. And now with all of the scientific knowledge, we see that we are proving that they knew thousands of years ago, they already knew. We're just discovering in the West what they already knew. So it's just nice to have the science, because we in the West, we need the science. So what I try to do is translate that knowledge from the East, what I've been learning, into the scientific community of the West. But when I think I already studied some science, and when I went to the East and I was reading all the old books, I was like, wait, this is psychology 101. But these were like really old books. And I was like, oh, I understand now. They were talking about the same, only the language was a little bit different. So they already talked about the mind, about the body and the connection. So the only thing I'm doing is translating as much as I can, and combining it. And I think we open ourselves more up for this knowledge when it's scientifically proven, but it doesn't mean that before it was proven it didn't work. It works. You know, we can talk about meditation like, oh, I don't know if it works or not. We've proven it scientifically, but before we've proven it, it worked.
Yeah, it was there before we even understood it.
So
Yeah.
how do they complement each other? Do you consider it to be more effective when you're combining East and West methodologies? And I mean, the fact that you can prove it, does it make it more effective or just more popular with the West?
I think it makes it more popular, but also more comprehensive, because it opens people up. People automatically say, oh no, this is not for me, this is not for me, this is not for me. They close down because they do not have the knowledge. And when I talk about, well, science has proven this, or read this article, or read this book, and then they're more open, like, ah, okay. So when I started, I didn't use the word meditation, because everybody always got like, oh no, I'm not spiritual. So, well, you don't have to be spiritual to meditate. And now, thanks to so many famous teachers and studies, now I always use the word meditation as one of the favorite tools to help people, because people know it nowadays. But a long time ago, people were like, oh no, I want to do nothing with this, because it's like this fake. Even with the word mindfulness, people are like, oh, staring at a plant. I did a workshop mindfulness. This woman said, you have to stare at a plant. It was like vague. But it's just focusing your awareness in one point. It's the explanation. When we explain things, what it is, what we are doing, people are more open to it and willing, and then they are ready to discover. Otherwise, they close down before they even try it.
Yes. Yeah, I actually have friends who resist, or they feel that it's a waste of time to meditate. I even go to therapy, and they're not exactly, in the best mental conditions,
Yeah.
And they resort sometimes to alcohol or, other distractions that don't necessarily resolve the internal issues.
But that's the thing. If we don't feel, we don't heal. We need to feel to heal. And that's why I love to explain, because we all have this dopamine addiction. We all move from one quick fix to another because we feel pain, and we are programmed to go for pleasure and avoid pain. So we find ourselves seeking for these quick fixes like sugar, alcohol, sex, online shopping, social media, Netflix, all these distractions. And when I teach seminars around the world, people often say, well, I don't have any issues. Okay, well, do this little experiment with me. Go sit for 10 minutes each day for 2 weeks. Just close your eyes and sit still and explain the science, what will happen with the brain. Like, oh, that's interesting. Within 3 days, most people call me like, I have some issues. because then they are confronted with the subconscious thoughts. Then they are confronted with their insecurity, their doubts, their worry, their anxieties, which they usually walk away from and hide via the alcohol, the sugar, all of the distraction.
Can you give some examples of that? Or either very common examples or very outstanding examples of somebody that said, oh, I don't have any problems, and then they do that exercise and then they come back and say, well,
yeah, I think it's I think the harder people say, I don't have any mental issues, I think we all have something we are afraid or worried. I haven't met many people who are purely living in the present moment. I've been asking the same question for as long as I've been doing this work. And do you want to feel good in your body? And people say, yeah. Do you want to feel good in your mind? Yeah. And do you know how to? And people say, yeah, it's yoga, meditation, sports. And then I ask, what are you doing about it? And then people go, well, I don't have time. I'm too busy for work. I'm to this, I'm to this. And there's always an excuse to work on your body and your mind. So I think most people are in a looping of autopilot. We wake up, we go to work, we do our thing, and we keep repeating. It is only when people hit that wall, the burnout, the becoming sick, that's the moment we have to stop. That's usually the moment people start to reflect and say, wait a second, the way I was living wasn't maybe the healthiest way, always working 80 hours, always being busy. Nowadays, everybody's busy, busy, busy. So because you're busy, you're saying to me like, oh no, I don't have any mental issues, because you're always distracted. You're addicted to the stress. You're addicted to work. You always move from one moment to another, till you hit that wall, till the anxiety or the stress or the business is too much. And then you start to reflect and say, wait a second, what is happening here? And that's when people start to change. That's when people start to realize, then people start to realize, hey, there's all these unresolved stuff, all these insecurities, all these things. But most people, when you say, we don't like to talk about emotions in the West. It's like everybody's like, how are you doing? Well, busy, but you, yeah, I'm doing well, but also busy. We don't talk about, I felt a little bit insecure today, or the criticism really hurt my feelings. We don't talk about that stuff. We just go on and go on and go on. But we're human. We're all human. We're all dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah, productivity takes over, right? Like sometimes I find myself like trying to relax and I'm feeling guilty that I'm not doing something else. And it's like, it's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Still, you can relax. And I love how you explain that we go from a quick fix to another. Like sugar is a quick fix too. Like we could be addicted to so many things. How do you work with nutrition? Do you create nutrition plans?
Yeah, I try to. What I'm trying to do, because there's so much noise about the mindset, about nutrition, about sports. So what I've been trying to do is to keep it simple as possible. So for instance, for the mind, I always say, just meditate, focus on your breath. There's so many breath work nowadays. I always say, start with just focus on the breath. With movement, is start doing the basics. And with nutrition, I always say, keep it simple, eat clean and natural. Real food doesn't have ingredients. And in that case, I'm trying to build a lifestyle that is easy, accessible, and maintainable for everybody, instead of going all these nutritionist gurus and all, they might help for people who cannot manage the basics, but start with the basics. I believe that when we start focus on the basics, we balance our body, our mind and our body together, then we feel well. And when we feel well, we get clarity and more peace of mind. So with nutrition, for me, keep it simple. And then if that doesn't work, find a nutritionist, but just eat clean and natural. So let's say the veggies, fruits, the berries, some healthy nuts, healthy fats, and protein from eggs, or if you're vegan, from tofu. Sounds simple, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're overcomplicating. Google nutrition and it's endless. Google meditation, it's endless. And that's what we're trying to do with our app, to make it simple and go back to the basics. I believe that when we just focus on the basics, we will get a whole end.
So it's called, it's an app. It's something you can download on your phone.
Yeah.
How does it work? Anyone can download it?
Yeah, we're now in the beta phase. So we've been working on this for almost 3 years now, and we're going to release it after this summer, but it's already in the test phase, so people can download it via our Instagram. And what we try to do is make it complete. So there are scientific lectures about the mind. How does the mind work? How to deal with subconscious programming, how to break your old habits, how to create the best version of yourself. So those are the masterclass, we call it. And the masterclass is the scientific knowledge and the traditional knowledge of the lifestyle. And then we have supplements like mobility training, breath training, meditation, relaxation, all of these tools that will help you guide you into creating the best version of yourself.
I love it. What do you call neuroplasticity?
What neuroplasticity is? So neuroplasticity is actually the reprogramming of our subconscious programming. And whatever we learn as a young child, that becomes a hardware program. So if you start driving your car the first time, you're struggling because you have to look over your shoulder and you have to think what to pedal and brake and everything. But after a while, when you keep repeating it over and over and over, it becomes a program and a habit. Same goes for our behaviors. So riding a bike, learning our ABCs, our math, keep repeating over and over and becomes habit. But the same goes with our negative behaviors. So when we keep repeating like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, people must not like me, and we keep repeating it over and over, that becomes our subconscious habit. So that is, and our brain is malleable, it is plastic, so we can reprogram it, we can change it. So what we do in our app is teach people what is neuroplasticity, the key to rewire your brain, and how you can reprogram old habits, the bad habits, into new positive, healthy habits, like, for instance, go to the gym, or doing your yoga, or your meditation. In the beginning, we all struggle. When I used to go to the gym, I struggled. I had to drag myself to the gym. But because I keep repeating it over and over, I program it in my subconscious mind. It became a program, neuroplasticity, and now it became a habit for me. And now it's easy and effortless. And that goes for everything, with our nutrition, with all our healthy lifestyle habits. It can become easy and effortless, but you just have to understand how does the mind work and how can I program it become easy for yourself, making it easy for yourself.
You mentioned about the gym. I'm curious if it's important to go at the same time to make it a habit, or does it matter?
Yeah, I say the same moment, as well as meditation, as well with relaxation and sports, same moment, because same time we get frustrated because things change. But for instance, I teach people the same moment for meditation when you wake up. I don't wake up the same time as Saturday as I do on Sunday or on Monday, but when I wake up, I meditate.
Okay.
Most people advise do your gym after work. So sometimes you finish work at 5 or 4, you do your gym after work. I do advise in the beginning to be a little bit more strict to make it a habit. I think what you're saying is really right. When we keep doing it at the same time, it becomes easier to maintain it. And once it's a program, then you can change. Doesn't work for everybody, but for most people, I advise when you start trying to create a new habit, do it at the same time. Yes, for sure. Or same moment. That sounds better.
Yeah.
I will read something from your website. Gil focuses on people with stress-related problems, people who are against or in a burnout, depression, tension complaints, anxiety disorders, panic attacks, and much more. Additional complaints are, for example, anger, frustration, stress, overexertion, indecisiveness, insecurity. Well, there's a long list of people suffering, because people nowadays suffer from all of this. is there any specific situation in which you found you're very proud of a case or one of the people that work with you, you can say, this is an example of how somebody's life can change dramatically because of including new habits?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the most sad things about the teachings I'm teaching is most people say this is basic knowledge, this is basic human behavior, this is something we all should learn. And I agree with them. Because let's give me an example of nobody likes it when someone's criticizing you, right? Nobody likes it when people are being negative to you. Yet we all do it towards each other. But when it happens to us, we don't like it. But why are we doing it to someone else if we don't like it? The basic human behavior, the basic human is, do you hear me? Do you see me? What I say doesn't matter. But are we uplifting each other or are we draining people? You know?
Yeah.
And what I see with a lot of my clients is when they grew up, they didn't have this. So they had a parent who was really busy working and they gave them money, they gave them education, but they didn't give them that what the child really needed. The do you hear me? Do you see me? And what I say doesn't matter. Feeling of connection. And nowadays we listen to respond. We don't listen to listen. You understand? We listen to react. We listen to respond. And when I teach seminars, I ask people who here feels lonely. Close your eyes. Who feels lonely? And then so many people hand go up. And then I ask who feels lonely in company. And still a lot of people hand go up because people don't feel connected. And that is what is missing. And people complain and they blame. And I believe strongly that when we feel ourselves well, we don't feel the need to complain because our awareness can only be in one place. So it cannot be in the happy place and the anger or the blame place at the same time. So I always tell the story about Jimmy, which is a famous story in my community. And Jimmy is in love and he feels well. And he goes to work and there's a traffic jam. Jimmy's listening to the music. And someone cuts him off on the freeway. He doesn't get bothered. He's, hey, go on. He goes to his work and his boss says, hey, the project didn't go well. And he says, you know what, but I will take care of it. And then he goes to the restaurant later and the waiter keeps forgetting stuff. And at the end, he gives the waiter a big tip and says, hey, enjoy your evening. And he goes to bed. Jimmy had a good day. He felt good. Then the next day, Jimmy's girlfriend calls him up and says, I'm breaking up with you. Now, Jimmy doesn't feel so well. Now the same traffic jam is happening. Now Jimmy is screaming at the traffic jam, getting frustrated and irritated. Now someone cuts him off. He starts honking, you idiot. He gets to work and his boss says the project didn't go well. And he said, I've been working 20 years for this company. I always do the same stuff. He goes to the restaurant, the waiter keeps forgetting stuff. And he says to the waiter, you know what, get your manager. This is the last day you're working here. So what changed? Nothing changed. The circumstances were exactly the same. The only thing that changed was his mindset. So what I've been learning and teaching my clients that they come to me because they don't feel well. They're burned out. They are stressed. They're overwhelmed. So they're frustrated, irritated, and angry about everything. But when their mind changes with neuroplasticity and they keep their body and mind in balance with proper nutrition, with movement, with a mindset, then they come back and say, you know what, Gil? I still have the same circumstances, but it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm not distracted anymore. I'm not frustrated anymore. I'm not in anxiety anymore. So this is one of the things that happens to me a lot when people say, hey, my whole life changed because of this knowledge. My whole life changed because I'm imbalanced. It wasn't the circumstances. Because when we say, I feel frustrated because of you, because of because of this, then you give away your control. Then you are dependent on feeling good on the whole world being perfect. But when you say, I feel good no matter what, and the circumstances are just a part of what is, then your life changes. Then you get control. By giving away, you gain control.
Yeah, No, I totally, it makes a lot of sense, and it's so positive. You know, it's a message to help people when they come to you. Do you mean they come to you personally, or they? I don't understand how you were able to help
We do
15,000.
one-on-one, so we do one-on-one consultancy via online worldwide. I have an office in the Netherlands and around the world, which I teach. I teach workshops and seminars, so with different companies, they hire me, so I'm traveling around the world. That's
Oh,
why I was
yeah.
in Bali. So people call me up and say, hey, could you please give a workshop? So we enlighten the employees to give them knowledge about the science, about the mind, about the body, nutrition, about a positive mindset, and to prevent burnout, to prevent anxiety, how to deal with anxiety. So we're teaching different seminars and workshops for whoever is calling upon. And now that we are developing an app, we're getting all of this knowledge together into the app with all of these masterclass workshops where you can learn step by step how it works, how the mind works, how to break your habits, and how to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely the energy that you transmit, the peace, the just the healthiness is exactly what we need. You know, we need more of this in the world. We're just I'm a father. I have a 25-year-old son. I have a 22-year-old daughter. And in the United States, there's so much anxiety and depression and even suicide,
Yeah,
drugs, alcohol,
yeah,
gun violence. I mean, that part of connectedness that people feel isolated and then they resort
yeah,
to, they can't deal with that pain.
yeah.
So I totally feel that the way you're doing it, the way you're presenting it and connecting the body with the spiritual side and the mindset that you're talking about,
Mhm.
that's huge.
I think it's the
So
basic. I think when we're so focused on the outside world, and what you're saying, I hear what you're saying. So many young people I'm seeing are getting more depressed, more anxiety, suicide. It's rising, and the World Health Organization, I think, said 2030 they expect the stress, the burnout to be the biggest pandemic. It's rising, and instead of focusing on the outside, we should all start with ourselves. You know, be the person you like to see. It starts with you. I believe that when we start by calming our mind, we get reflection and insight. And when we start focusing on our health, on our movement, on our nutrition, on our mindset, when we feel well, we become like Jimmy. You know, when you start becoming falling in love with life, then you feel well. And that's when self-love comes. And when we have self-love, then comes empathy. And when empathy comes, we can look at each other and connect to each other on a deeper level, which we all crave and desire. And that's when the world starts to change. I believe it starts with us. It starts with me taking care of me so I can take care of you. But it starts with me. And when we all focus on ourselves, we will create a better world. When we feel
yeah,
well, we can send out love instead of frustration, hate, and blame and irritation. It starts with us.
yeah, that's beautiful.
You focus on a specific target group. I read this on your website. Highly sensitive person, men with HSP. What is this?
Well, I think, well, that's my specialty. We don't only focus on them, but it's my specialty. We see more and more people who are highly sensitive. And there's a lot of misconception about people who are highly sensitive. It's not that they're like the sensitive weak people that some people like to portray in society. Personally, I believe they are the future because these people are more aware of each other's emotions. They're more aware of emotions. They are more sensitive to negativity. Um, I think it's our evolution. I think it's our evolution as human beings, becoming more sensitive towards each other, more empathic towards each other. I think this will be the new generation of the people that we need this narcissistic world that everybody's trying to fight for their own tribe, that time is gone. It's now about connecting with each other and elevating each other and lifting each other up. And people with highly sensitivity sometimes feel like they're lost. They feel like they're alone in the world. They feel like everybody's like going to the big parties and doing all of this, and they're overstimulated by this. And I like to say to them, one, you're not alone. You're not crazy. There are many, many million people around the world just like you. So when you get overstimulated really fast, you are overly sensitive towards other people's emotions. Where you are more sensitive to smell and sight and light, there's nothing wrong with you. You are special. You are the future, and we need you because your understanding, your empathic behavior is what we need in our society as our teachers, as our managers, as our leaders. So you are necessary.
How was your experience working with people with HSP? Sorry. How was your experience working with them?
Well, we help them a lot because now we know the information, but for the older generation, it wasn't very well known. So most of them are like 30 plus, and they discovered like they were always struggling with their work, with their relationships, with their friendships. And you see them changing, like it's a revelation for them. You see them becoming light, like, ah, it has a name, it has something. And they learn how to connect to people on a different level, and then like they become themselves. They become more accepting. And it's amazing to see people going from struggle to seeing them relax and becoming themselves. It's a beautiful thing to see. That's a beautiful thing in my whole work, to see people grow and soften down and become themselves.
Is there a certain like normal timeline? Like it can take years, or it can take days, or it can take months for somebody.
In changing,
very
I think
sensitive.
for all changes, it doesn't matter. I think all change needs time. And this is the problem in society. Everything is now. You can get a six-pack in 6 weeks. You can get slim in 4. You can get Zen in 1 month. You can become a teacher in a weekend. I'm not that teacher. I'm sorry. It's gonna be work. I'm sorry. I studied for years for the science of the mind, of the breathing, of the yoga, of the meditation, of the nutrition. I studied for a long time. My own journey took time. And I always say to my clients, if you want a quick fix, I'm not your guy. If you want results, I'm your guy. It takes about 21 days to 90 days for a new pattern to create. So it takes time and effort. You cannot learn to drive a car in 1 day. You can, but most people do it in a couple of weeks. You know, riding your bike, learning your ABCs. It's like going to the university. You can expect the results of being a doctor at the first year of the med school. Every change requires effort. And the result of change is on the other side of our discomfort. Well, most people give up. So we see the 1st of January, people say, oh, I'm going to start doing meditation. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to learn a new language. And then the 3rd week, they fall back in their old habits and patterns. And this is what we see. It becomes addicted to go from one teacher to another, from one book to another. And I met so many people around the world who said they read all the books of Eckhart Tolle, of Deepak Chopra, of Joe Dispenza. They read all the books, but I don't see the results because all of the teachers teach the same beautiful message and story and insight, but you have to start practicing it. It's good that you have knowledge, but if you don't practice the knowledge, it doesn't help. People can tell me a lot about the gym and about how the body works, but you have to go to the gym. And when people are focused on the results now, that's where we get lost in society, because we are growing in a society where everything is now. And the time and effort it requires to become good at something, this is where we get lost.
So yeah, that's a great point in terms of the support, because one at the beginning, maybe one's enthusiastic. First, they have to want to change. You
Yes.
You give them all the information, all the techniques, But if the person is
you have to really want it yourself. It's like smoking when you say, oh, husband, please stop smoking, the husband has to make that choice for himself to say, I want to stop or start.
So that's first. But then the second part is when they go through a low point or they don't have the energy, like how do you support people to keep going and be consistent?
Well, it starts actually with getting insight first. You have to become aware of your mental issues. If you're on the autopilot and you're not aware that you're always frustrated, irritated, or have anxiety, step one is becoming aware. That's step one. And then step two is wanting it. And what I always say is when we are stressed or when we are busy in our mind, we go in survival mode. So our rational brain goes offline. So we lose our willpower or motivation there. So the first thing we have to do is be calm. Because when you're stressed and in anxiety, change is impossible. And that's when people are saying, I'm always busy. Yeah, that's why change is impossible. You always have the pilot or the autopilot. There's always a driver. It's the conscious or the subconscious. And when you're busy, the subconscious mind is playing all the default mode, all the habits that you've always been doing. When you are present and calm, this is where change can come. This is where your willpower is, your discipline, your motivation. So what I usually teach is it starts with focus. It starts by being aware, being present.
And calming the mind so you can have more clarity.
You need to have a calm mind. If you are stressed, change is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
You need to calm down first. And when you get calm, then you're in the driver's seat. Then you can go with change. But it takes so much energy, and we only have a limited amount of energy each day. So when you have stress and anxiety, it takes away all this energy. So now you don't have willpower. Now you're going to eat your bag of chips. Now you get your dopamine quick fix. Now you're like, oh, I'm not in the mood to go to the gym or do my yoga or my exercise or my gratitude journal or whatever. But you have to maintain your awareness and your focus by starting by being calm, and don't go for your quick fix. Because once you get your quick fix, like your sugar or your whatever, your motivation, willpower is just gone. I always teach, do your most important stuff first. When you wake up, whatever you're trying to achieve, do that in the morning first. Your gym, your meditation, your gratitude journal, your success, whatever it is, do it in the morning when you have the most amount of willpower. And live in balance. You don't have to only drink water, eat salad, and be like a monk, only focused, but there's a balance. But to achieve your goals and your dreams, you have to get your focus and again, calm your mind first. Calm your mind, calm your mind. That's step one, calm your mind. I so many times have people who come with anxiety, stress, and worry to me and say, oh, I need your help. And I say, well, I'm full this week. And I give them a simple advice. Meditate 20 minutes. Take a walk in sunlight for 20 minutes each day. Eat clean and natural. Watch your breath for 5 minutes a day. And that's it. After 3 weeks, people come back like, I feel way better. I say, yeah. It's so simple. It's the basic thing that we need. I'm trying to keep it simple. We go to this extreme breathing and extreme practices and whole journeys through India. Just try to start with the basics. Start with the basics, and if this doesn't help, go to step 2, but start with the basics. Eat clean and natural, meditate 20 minutes a day, take a walk in the sunlight, get your vitamins in there, your fibers, and when you get your body and your mind in balance, that's when you start to feel well. That's when you get clarity. That's where the motivation, the willpower starts to come.
I wanted to ask, is there anything we didn't ask or anything you would like to share that we didn't bring up?
I think share maybe. I think my message is, I believe that we all feel good when people are uplifting, kind to each other. That's how nobody likes it when people are being negative. So it starts with us. Whatever we want, we have to give. And I believe that when you feel good, you are at your best. And when you are at your best, you are more able to have self-love and self-care and more empathy towards each other. So that's the message I would love to share. And I do believe it starts with you by calming the mind and taking care of yourself, self-care, self-love. And what we're doing is just sharing knowledge in any way possible via our book, our documentaries, which is coming, our app and our retreats around the world and our seminars. And that's our love and our passion. That's the only thing we're trying to do, because I believe in changing the world starts with us. In the end, we all crave a deeper connection. And what I always say is, what are you grateful for in this moment? And let's be kind to other people, but be more kind towards yourself. And the final thing I would love to share is life is only meant to be lived now. We often live in the next moment, the next and the next, thinking the next moment will be better after summer, after winter, once I get married, once I get a boyfriend, once I get, but it is now. When you have love, joy, and peace now, you are where you need to be. And everything else is just a supplement. The trip to Thailand is a supplement. Going to the nice restaurant is a supplement. But when we start living in joy, love, and peace in the present moment, and we should all do this, then we have maybe a better world.
I love that. I wanted to ask, which are your upcoming projects? You are developing the app.
Yes.
And when is the app due to be out?
The first phase of the app, well, we now have the beta version of the app, which people can download via our Instagram, Mind Movement app. The link is in the bio. In September this year, we're going to release the first phase. And next year, we're going to release phase 2. But from September, people can download it in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Other projects is we're going to do a couple of retreats around the world, in all parts of the continent or around the world. What else? That's it. Those are the 2 biggest projects, actually. I'm writing a book as we're speaking, which is also coming out this year.
Oh, a book.
Yes.
Amazing.
So those are my projects for now. And yeah, if people at home are watching and thinking, hey, our company could use a workshop or our environment, just hit us up via the website and we will come. I will fly over to share this message of love, of health, and to share the science.
That's great. That's so important, the message you're giving. And Mariano, is there anything else you wanted to say before we close?
Yes. So based on studies on this idea that you mentioned, that first we have to focus on ourselves and be the change we want. It's proven that it's contagious. If you are angry and upset and critical, you're going to make other people angry, upset.
Yeah.
If you're at peace and you have joy, and you will you uplift other people. So you can,
yes,
you have to be a world leader or a guru. You can affect the people around you. So that you just reinforce that idea, how important it is to first focus on, and then the 4 steps you have to reach that. The other thing that you mentioned is the more, like, you become so alive and so excited and so passionate about this idea that you can be a positive force for change. And that, I mean, you're definitely going global, but it kind of matches what our mission is as free thinkers of the world, is that we want to unite the world through the power of reason, empathy, and storytelling. And then me, on a personal level, you also helped reinforce personally. I am a producer, writer, actor, but I want to help people of different backgrounds tell their stories. And your story is just so important, so beautiful, and I really believe in it. I believe in what you're doing is going to have a huge effect, and if there are more people like that, we can make a better world for our future generations. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I always end with, in everything that we do, there's always something we can see positive or negative. And we can also ask ourselves, is this giving energy or draining energy? That's a simple way of living. And in everything I'm doing, is it kindness towards other people? Am I giving energy or taking energy? Is this a positive outlook or a negative outlook? And then life becomes really simple. And then I feel happy and joy all day, every day. And that's what I would love to share with the world.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Gil. It was an honor having you. Your project is amazing, and we wish you the best. If you want to get in touch with Gil, you can go to their Instagram site. It's the Mind Movement app, and you have to follow them because they have a lot of projects coming up. Also, if you like this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gil.
Thank you both. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Gil. It was a pleasure. And thank you so much for your time.
This is the end of our episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.